shot, 20 layups, and made 2. Totally. Yeah. So she's probably a little bit better now. You know, they're out of conference or struggle, but played some tough games. But I'm not sold that they're totally bought over the bench, honestly. I like to question coaches this.
I was going to say, but there you go.
It's hard when your daughter tells you stuff and it's like, I don't know, we'll see. We finish up with you guys Saturday, right?
Yeah, I can wait.
We'll try to sell that.
That'd be great.
Say that.
We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. Everybody can get what you need at the food line and take a seat during the next minute or two.
He didn't score the second quarter of that game, and then he scored 4 goals. I was so frustrated. And there was a minute and a half left, and we were full players, but not even trying to foul. I'm not even. We were down to 16. Yeah, we'll see. Amen. Hey, does that mean you come back on the watch?
Good evening. My name is Jason Osborne, and I'm the Athletic Director for Miamisburg City Schools. On behalf of Miamisburg City Schools and the Hall of Fame Committee, we welcome you to tonight's 2023 Hall of Fame induction reception. It is an honor to be here with some of the finest and most productive athletes in the history of Miamisburg Schools. I appreciate you giving up your evening to be here with us tonight. Tonight, we will be adding 4 new members to the Hall of Fame. And when I read your name, if you would just stand for just a minute. Megan Davis Reed, Lane Hughes, Bryan Myers, and Megan Wright. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce the Hall of Fame committee that's with us here tonight. If you guys would please stand when I call your name. Rex Gardecki, Brad Myers, Michael Black, Jason Shade, Scott Masters, and Allison James. Let's get in there. At this time, I'd like to bring up Rex Gardecki. He's got a few words to talk to you about the Miamisburg Schools Education Foundation. He told me in just a minute.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here this evening. And when we had the meeting in September to pick the Hall of Fame members, we had some really wonderful candidates to pick, but I think what we narrowed down to was right on the key. I think it was a very good job. I just turned my hat from the athletic part to the Education Foundation. I've been involved with this for approximately 15 years, and we've got 2 or 3 people here that are also on this board. And I found over the years, this is probably the most rewarding thing that we can do for our high school children. We've endowed thousands of dollars to needy students throughout the years to get them through college. And I don't think we've ever really turned down anybody. We're very fortunate to have quite a bit of money in this, but anybody can donate to this. It's a tax-deductible organization. If you have any questions, you can contact Brenda Hibbert or Stacy Moore at the high school, or Dr. Blessing. We can ask for you too on this line. So it's just something, if you got it on your table, if you look at it and give it some thought, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And as for information regarding the Hall of Fame, that nomination process, it can be found on Miamisburgathletics.com, and you can always stop by the athletic office or email Mr. Shade or myself if you have questions about how to nominate and that sort of thing. Here with us tonight from Miamisburg City Schools, if you guys would please stand, Superintendent Dr. Laura Blessing, Assistant Superintendent Steve Holman, High School Principal Michael Black, Assistant Principal Zach Klein, Secretary of the Superintendent Brenda Hibbert, Assistant Athletic Director Jason Shade, Athletic Secretary Reva Pittman, and Board of Education members Dale Toadvine, Ann Neese, Tim Lewis, Chris Amsler, and Corey Daffler. Let's give them a round. Head coach is here with us tonight. Johnny Wade, baseball. Melvin Johnson, track and field. Allison James, girls basketball. John Good, gymnastics. John Wiss, girls lacrosse. Kay Skank and Kelly Wilbur, cheerleading. Ted Morningstar, girls soccer. And Tim Freeze, boys basketball. Let's give them a round of applause. And here with us tonight from the Viking Boosters Association, if you guys would please stand, President Jennifer Kopic, Vice President Michelle Lieber, they might have already walked out, and Treasurer Michael Tawby. And a big special thank you to them because each year we do this, the Viking Boosters picks up the tab on the dinner, and we thank them very, very much. Thank you. Here with us from the city of Miamisburg, we have City Council members Tom Nicholas, Ryan Colvin, and Mike McCabe. We appreciate all you guys do. I would like to congratulate our inductees and their families on this outstanding accomplishment. This is a great class that has made our community and school proud in so many ways. These individuals have left a lasting impression on the people who watch them during contest and competition. Their generosity and support of Miamisburg athletics has had a great impact on many young lives. At this time, I would like to bring up our first inductee of the night, along with his presenter, Lane Hughes, class of 1982. He is being inducted tonight as a participant in football, a coach, and a contributor. Lane will be presented tonight by his longtime friend, Eric Linsky. Come on up, fellas.
Good evening. First of all, thank you for coming out. This is a great honor for everybody that's been inducted, for the inductees tonight. Congratulations to all four of them. Very much deserved. I've known Lane for almost 27 years. And as I reflected and started thinking about what I was going to say tonight, the first thing that popped into my mind was the first time I ever met Lane. It was almost 26 and a half years ago, and it was in August. I was just getting ready to start my second year teaching at Neff Elementary, and I was starting to coach junior high girls tennis. And it was the first year for the program, and we were at practice up at Harmon Field, at the old tennis courts that used to be up in Harmon, that many of you probably remember. And I'm standing there, and I had just that day got off the phone with our new girls basketball coach at the time, Ron Russo. I had coached basketball in college at Carlisle, and Ron was the new head coach, and so I applied to be on his staff. He hired me to do junior high girls basketball. So I was excited about that. I was a basketball coach, and that's what I wanted to do, but I like to do tennis too, and just trying to help out and get things going. And I asked him, I said, who am I going to coach with? Who's the other junior high coach? He said, it's this guy named Lane Hughes. He's been doing it for a few years. He's going to stay on. He'll do 7th grade, he'll do 8th grade. I said, okay, that sounds good. So I go to practice, and Andy and Ashley McCabe were two of the players on my team, and I'm talking to them. I'm like, hey, girls, who's this Lane Hughes? And they're like, well, he's right up there at junior high football practice up at Harvard. I said, oh. Okay. They call him over, and Lane comes over, and we kind of, hey, how you doing? And talk a little bit. He goes back to practice. I go back to mine. And I'm thinking, great. I have to coach basketball with a football guy. This is not going to be good. Later on, I found out he's walking away and he's going, I got to coach basketball with a guy that's coaching middle school girls tennis? Are you kidding me? But who knew that 27 years later, we're best friends. We went through and coached together at the junior high girls level. We've been through all kinds of stuff together. We've spent countless hours at basketball games, football games, scouting trips, wing nights at Roosters, wrestling events, ECW, all kinds of just fun memories that I hold very, very dear to my heart. Lane's been a very big part of my life as a friend. And so it is a great honor for me to introduce you tonight to one of our new Hall of Fame members, Lane Hughes.
I believe my actual comment as I walked away from him that day was, I got to coach basketball with this dorky tennis coach. I believe that was my first thought. When Jason called and informed me of this, I said, oh, you finally ran out of good candidates. Of course, he's like, he always called me Hughes. Hughes! And I'm not here for anything I did as an athlete. I was a good football player, but obviously spent many years coaching football, basketball, a few years of track mixed in there. And I've been away from coaching for a little while. And a funny thing happened during the football season. My wife and I came up to a varsity football game, and I have a nifty little lifetime GWAP pass I was given. So as I came in, handed, I don't know who the lady was taking the passes. She looked at the pass and she said, ooh, you must have been somebody important at one time. I was like, yeah, maybe. I didn't know what to say to her. I just kind of walked away laughing. But I just want to say I'm very humbled, very honored to have been selected for our Athletic Hall of Fame. Honored to be included with the other athletes, coaches, supporters who have already been inducted. I want to say thanks to all of my family that's here tonight. And I don't want anybody to be offended if some of them get up and leave when I'm done, because my nephew plays on the JV team. Some of them are doing a 2-for-1 tonight, seeing this and watching them play basketball, so some of them may exit. But I appreciate all of them for being here. I didn't expect such a big turnout from all of them. And congrats to Megan, and Bryan for also being in this 2023 class. I want to thank Dave Parkhurst, Tim Lewis, and Ron Russo for allowing me to coach in their programs. Had a lot of fun, a lot of years. Coaching obviously introduced me to a lot of great athletes, parents, a lot of which I wouldn't know had I not been coaching. Friends with a lot of, I forget a lot of names now after all the years. They'll come up, they still call me Coach. Ronnie Colton, he's always Coach. And I had the privilege of coaching with a lot of people over those years, obviously, and have a lot of friendship with those. A lot of great memories. And I had the privilege of coaching 2 of my nieces, and also my 2 stepdaughters. So I have a lot of great memories from those seasons. And a lot of good stories obviously come out of all this. So I'm going to leave you with one funny one that involved a coach from Springboro. And Eric and I, he had coached there for quite a number of years. Every year we'd go there, or they'd come here. He'd make the point and come across the gym. Hi Eric, hi Lane, how you doing? You know, super nice guy. And he coached there for quite a few years. So after a number of years of that, all of a sudden we go to Springboro and walk in, he comes across the door, hey Eric, hey Lance. He's like, what'd he say? He called me Lance. I don't know. He's always called me Lane. I don't know. So this went on for a few years. And Eric kind of made fun of it. My name became Lance Hugeness, was my alter ego, Lance Hugeness. And so this one year, I told him, I said, I'm gonna correct him. I said, this has gone on for a few years now, I'm gonna correct him. Walk into Springboro, he comes across the floor, hey Eric, hi Lane. Just one of the goofy stories I have, you know, I could write a book. But again, thank you very much. This is an awesome night, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Tonight's next inductee is Bryan Myers, class of 1985. He is being inducted tonight as a participant in football and baseball, a coach, and a contributor. Bryan will be presented by his brother, Brad Myers. Come on up, guys.
Good evening. So it's an honor and privilege for me to be here tonight and present my brother Bryan. I swore I was going to keep this humble, but I have to tell the truth and I can't. So here we go. So prior to coming here tonight, I reached out to 4 or 5 of our friends in our friend group and I said, hey, just a thought, tell me, you know, what is it about Bryan? What about him was special? What about him was different? What made him who he is? And it was interesting because every single person that responded said he's one of the best all-around athletes that I've ever seen or ever been around. And it was interesting because I had the same exact thought. It didn't matter how difficult the situation, what the task was at hand, Bryan did it well. There was nothing athletically he couldn't do. He made incredibly difficult things really look easy. He was smart way beyond his years, and his work ethic, attitude, toughness, and desire to be great, along with his skill set, made him something that was really special. Really special. While at MHS, Bryan played football, basketball, and baseball. Back in the day, it wasn't real common for sophomores to even get playing time in varsity sports, let alone start. Bryan started his sophomore year in football, and actually, I don't know how many games, but there was quite a few games his sophomore year. He played both ways. Played offense and defense, which is unheard of. He was 2 times All-Conference, All-Greater Dayton. He was a team captain his senior year. He went on to have a successful career at Ohio University. Things that came to my mind that, you know, like if I had to pick out one word that sort of encapsulated who he was as a football player, he was tough, he was aggressive, he was dominating, he certainly was very smart. He had this ability to sort of know and predict what was happening before it ever happened. And he was definitely a leader. In basketball, Bryan played in 7th through 9th grade. He didn't play after his 9th grade year. And I have to say this. So we both enjoyed the weight room a lot. And we dedicated a lot of time to the weight room. And our excuse for not playing basketball in high school, I think, was that, you know, we were dedicating time to the weight room. When probably there was just as much credence to the fact that I like to categorize ourselves as calorically enhanced gentlemen, and calorically enhanced gentlemen in basketball do not go together well. So that could have been it. But you know, shooting basketball is there's an art to it. It's not a lot of people can do it well. Bryan not only did it well, he did it well when he was 5 years old, and he can do it well today. If we get together as family, and the boys will attest to this, if we get together today as family, we'll start shooting hoops, and if Bryan misses one, what's he do? raises his arm, foul, calls him ball. I mean, every time. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Every single, he can't believe it didn't go in. And I was talking with another Hall of Famer, Jeff Alcorn, who's an amazing guy, amazing athlete. But I can remember, it was an incredible basketball player, played with Bryan. But I can remember times where, they were playing middle school basketball and Bryan's team would win 32-26 and Bryan would have 22 of the 32. I mean, it was unreal. And for a big guy, he also had great ball skills. He could handle the basketball, he could play inside, he could play outside. And Jeff brought this up when we were standing there talking to my Uncle Lloyd. Used to come to a lot of our games when we were in middle school. He always told us if we ever passed the basketball, that was like the cardinal sin. You did not pass the ball. He would say, when they pass you the ball, there's one other pass made, and that's the basket. And he'd get mad at us if we didn't put it up. So Bryan, I can't remember, was it Dave Ortman that gave you the nickname Chucker? Oh, Dave, yeah. But when they passed him the ball, he took Uncle Lloyd's advice. I mean, he went to the basket after that, for sure. Covered or not covered. I think hitting a baseball is one of the most difficult things there is to do, or softball. Bryan and I think our first love was baseball. They didn't have a lot of youth sports back in the day. There wasn't basketball until 7th grade. And, so our first passion was really baseball. If you are successful a third of the time, you're a really good baseball player. And it's just very difficult. I've never seen anybody with a more natural, pure swing than Bryan. I can remember standing down at Rice number 7 in the warm-up circle, getting ready to go to the plate, knowing I couldn't hit the pitcher with the tennis racket. Literally, I was like, I get a little glitch in my swing, and I hadn't hit a ball solid in forever. Bryan didn't deal with that. He could hit for power, he hit for average. Had great hands defensively and a cannon for an arm. I put together a list. I thought you might enjoy this, the things you would lose at if you played Bryan. I guarantee you'll lose 100% of the time. Golf. I mean, he didn't play golf because he played football, but he'll knock the dust off his clubs today and go out and shoot 78. I mean, who does that? Nobody does that. But golf, ping pong, pool, around the world, free throws, jarts. Can you imagine telling the kids to go get the jarts out and go play in the yard today? There'd be people on the phone to the police about instantly. Jokari and Super Toe. Yeah. Super Toe is a guy you pound on the head and takes the ball. He'd kill you in that. Guaranteed. As a contributor, Bryan unfortunately tragically lost a little boy, beautiful little boy, Jansen. And Bryan has really dedicated his life since then to making sure they didn't die in vain, to make sure that his name and memory have gone on. And he's done an amazing job with it. He formed the James Myers Child Abuse Foundation. He has donated special materials to classrooms, like paid for field trips, scholarships. He's donated to clubs. He's donated to countless sports teams. And that is something that continues on today, and I'm sure will continue on with the next generation. Bryan also has a third facet to this, and that's coaching. And he coached 30-plus straight seasons in football. 30-plus. There's a lot of coaches here, and you can appreciate what that's like. Lane, I take my hat off to you, crazy respect for the amount of effort, time, and what you were able to give back to the kids, this community. Total respect for that, big time. And he was a way better football player than he led on to. I played with him. You know, I saw some of my Yak Sizemore, Tim Lewis. I know Mike Snyder is usually here. I haven't seen Mike tonight. But I think, you know, coaches a lot of times in our society today get sort of judged by wins and losses. You know, and that's great. Look, no, I mean, if you're an athlete, you hate to lose, right? I mean, nobody wants to lose, period. But to me, coaching is not about wins and losses. You know, you're going to have great teams, and he certainly coached some great ones. He certainly coached some good ones. He coached some not so good ones. You know, and that's the way it goes. But I think the true blessing in coaching is really about the ability to mentor kids and to build character and discipline and toughness and work as a unit, and knowing the fact that every day you're showing up and you're going to be present and you care about them. And to do that for 30 seasons is incredible. And I know when you go somewhere with Bryan, it's really cool because you'll have a lot of those coaches and players come up to him and really express, you know, how grateful they are that he's been a part of their life. The same way as I mentioned, you know, the guys I've seen here today. I'm insanely proud of them. Again, it's an honor and a blessing to present my brother, Bryan Myers. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm trying to recover from some of that. You know, when he talks about the loss of my son, it shakes me. It always does. And I apologize, but I'll get with it here in a second. You know, I want to thank, obviously, the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me for this great honor. I'd like to thank Jason Osborne, because they do an incredible job with our athletic program. Our facilities are second to none. They always do things based on what's in the best interest of our kids, our student athletes, and it's very impressive what they do. They're awesome people, and we're very fortunate to have them here in Miamisburg. I want to thank Jonathan Wade, great friend of mine, teaching partner. We have a blast. Love you, buddy. Dave Parker's my head football coach when I played here. Yak Sizemore's here with one of our coaches. You know, Henry Butcher, Jeff Alcorn, a bunch of the guys I played with. As I stand here, there's a whole bunch of people that obviously have played a role in me, getting this honor. A ton of people along the way, from students that I've had, teachers that I've had, coaches, just the people that I've met and had the pleasure of being around. So that's a huge list of people that I can't thank enough for that. Bill and Dale Toadvine, amazing baseball coaches. Their knowledge of the game and their ability to teach it to everyone were incredible. And I'm forever grateful for what they taught me about the game of baseball and many other things. I'd like to thank all the assistant coaches that I played for over the years. Certainly had an impact on my life and any success that I had. A quick note I have to say about assistant coaches. I don't know if any of you ever got to see the NFL Hard Knocks series with the Cleveland Browns. But when I was playing at OU, let me go back a little bit. So there was a coach that became famous from videos on that Hard Knocks series with the Cleveland Browns. His name was Bob Wiley. And he was the set hut coach, and he gained a ton of weight, and he was real heavy, and every time he'd say set hut, his whole body would shake. And they did all these different series with him on that show while he was with the Browns. And so he became famous for the set hut coach. But he also was famous for part of that when he talked about how overrated stretching is. And he was constantly talking about the players and how, did they stretch before they stormed the beaches at Normandy? And did they, he was going on and became incredibly famous for that. But he was my offensive line coach at OU, and the guy was just amazing. So that was a fun fact. I had to put that in there. Some of the coaches, Tim Lewis. I can't thank Tim Lewis enough. Tim changed my career course. I was 22 years old, just got back from OU, and I was getting ready to start graduate school at UD, and Tim asked me if I'd be interested in helping coach. So I took a day and thought about it and came back and told him, yeah, I'd love to help out. And it changed everything because I changed from going to graduate school to being, there's Dale back there. You guys were awesome. I didn't see you before, I'm sorry. But I changed from getting a graduate degree to getting certified to teach phys ed. It's the greatest thing I ever did. And it was all because Tim asked me to do that and was, a great role model for me, and I learned a ton from him. And so, I'm forever grateful, Tim, for everything you did. Boy, did we have some fun. It was awesome. Great football coach. I want to thank all my teammates and all the players and coaches, all the players that I coached and all the coaches that I coached with over the years, great friends of mine. I want to thank Joe, Nancy, Rachel, Sarah, and Rachel Isakovich, Sarah Sullivan, Bob Kerwin, Jeff Piper, Scott Marion Smith, Brittany Garrett, Randy Russell for making the Jansen Myers Foundation what it is today. Here I go again. Okay. Brad and I could not have asked for better parents. They're very supportive with everything we did. Just a quick example of that was when I was playing at OU, most of the time our games were 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And in Kentucky, they take horse racing rather seriously. And so Brad was playing UK at the same time, and so a lot of their games, because of horse racing, were moved to 7:30 in the evening. Mom and Dad would make my game in Athens at 1 and be at Brad's game at 7:30 in Lexington. So they did that numerous times. It was just one of the things that they did. And, we played UNLV when I was at OU as well, out in Vegas, and we get to the hotel, and the first people I see when I walk in are my parents. The support was awesome. My dad is a member of the Hall of Fame. My brother, I am. I gotta give some love to my mom. She's sitting over here. It's funny. There was a question asked to her not long ago. Mimi, as she's known by most people around here, was asked how many football games she's seen in her life. And so that became a major topic of conversation. And so there is no chance that we could come up with that number of how many football games she's seen or been to. But I will say this. She's been all over the MAC, all over the GMAC, the Big Ten, the SEC to see all of us play. She's been to the Big Ten championship game multiple times, Hall of Fame Bowl, Gator Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl, and National Championship game. With all of those games having a son or a grandson playing in them. She's seen some football. Amazing the support that they showed. Obviously, I want to thank my brother Brad, been a huge role model for me. I've always looked up to him. Couldn't ask for a better brother. My sister-in-law Julie, Zach, Brett, and Josh, their spouses and girlfriends, and you guys are just amazing people. And I can't thank you enough for the relationship that we have as a family. And obviously my family, my wife Carla, my sons Blake, Jansen, Jackson, Peyton, and my daughter Ashton. They're incredible people, and I'm so thankful for them. Last two things I want to mention here is I coached one of my sons or nephews for 14 straight years. That was awesome. And every time there was a game, every time the team ran on the field at the beginning of the game, all of them that were playing at the time came. Multiple times there were two. Most of the time there was one, but every once in a while there was two. Always came and hugged me. As they ran on the field, they came to me and hugged me before every game. And one of the things that I loved about that as much as anything was the last 2 years, my daughter was a sports medicine trainer, and she got to hug me as well. It was the best thing ever. So I love Miamisburg. There's no other place I'd rather live in the world, and I thank you so much. Thank you.
Our third inductee tonight is Megan Wright, class of 2010. She is being inducted tonight as a participant in cross country and track and field. Megan will be presented by her coach, Jenny Schoenberger. Come on up, girls.
Good evening. This is quite an honor for me to be able to present Megan this evening. The list of achievements and awards this young lady has accomplished. The list of achievements and awards this young lady has accomplished is extremely long and very impressive, so I'm going to tell you a lot, so sorry. I had the privilege of coaching Megan all 4 years of high school in cross country and track. When she came out for cross country her freshman year, she had no idea of the talent and ability she was capable of. We had cross-country summer workouts that started in June, and we would run every morning during the week. Megan's dad worked, and he had to be at work very early, and sometimes she wouldn't have a ride. So she would miss practice sometimes, and Melvin Johnson and I, we'd be like, she has so much potential. We need to get her at practice. So I told her, Megan, I'll just pick you up every day. So every morning I picked her up, took her home after practice, and those drives to and from practice each day allowed me to really get to know Megan. The bond between us became very strong, and she became like a daughter to me. Sorry. She started out extremely quiet and shy. She really liked to run, but had very little belief in herself as being the best runner on our team, which we kept telling her she was going to be the best. The more and more Melvin and I pushed her, the harder she would work. She never backed down. As her freshman year progressed, she came out of her shell more and more. She also began to believe in herself more and more as a runner. When she went to the GWAC League meet as a freshman, she placed second. At district, she placed third, which allowed her to qualify for regionals. At regionals, she didn't qualify for state. She came up to me after the race and said, I'm going to make it to state next year. And I said, you put in the time, you put in the work, and I know you will. She said, when I make it to state and I make it on that podium, we're gonna go get matching tattoos. And I said, Megan, whatever, okay. And she said, no, I mean it, promise me right now, if I get on the podium at state, you're gonna get a tattoo with me. And I said, okay, I promise. Not thinking she'd hold me to that, but over the next 3 years, Megan worked her butt off. She made it to state the next 3 years. She made it to the podium twice. She went on the podium sophomore year and her senior year. After her senior year, we're taking photos. She's on the podium. All her teammates are there. We're having a great time celebrating her. And she comes up to me and she says, when are we going? And I said, well, we need to get some more photos and then we'll head home. No. She says, when are we going to get our matching tattoos? And I said, what? You're kidding, right? Nope. So she said, you promise. And I said, all right. The following weekend, she already had the tattoo picked out. We went. Megan is true to her word. She sets her mind to something and she does whatever it takes to accomplish it. After that season, she went into track determined to be the best. On the first day of our GWAC track meet, she won the 1,600 meter run and was part of the 4x800 relay team. Going into day 2 of the meet, we needed her to place in the top 3. And then our team would be the GWAC South champions. I was more nervous than she was. Before the race, she looked at me and said, "I got this, don't worry." Well, she did. She won. She was the champ. We ended up being the champs of the South, and from then on, she was focused every meet. We never had to worry. I was always more nervous than she was at every race. She was always ready to run. She never complained. She was the best role model at practice and at meets. Megan would keep everyone calm, including me and Melvin, at the races, and she pushed everyone at practice. She was such an amazing leader that she was voted team captain her sophomore, junior, and senior years for cross country and track. Megan went on to break 4 individual school records and 2 relay school records. All 6 records she still holds today. She holds the individual record in cross country with a time of 18:30. In track, she holds the 800-meter run with 2:17, 1,600-meter time of 5:07, and the 3,200-meter time of 11:15. She was a 4-time first-team all-GWAC in cross country. Her senior year, she was chosen to participate in the Mid-East Cross Country Championships. This is a race where the best seniors in Ohio are chosen to race against other states. In track, she earned GWAC Athlete of the Year twice. She was the 1,600-meter and 3,200-meter champion her freshman year, the 800 and the 1,600-meter champion her junior year. She went on to state her senior year in track in the 1,600, and that's where she set the school record. Megan went on to run at University of Toledo on a full-ride scholarship. She continued her success there, earning Mid-American Conference Cross Country Freshman of the Year, University Toledo's Women Athlete of the Year, and was the team captain for 4 years. This shows you what an amazing leader she truly is, being a captain in college even for 4 years. Megan helped lead her team to 4 MAC cross-country championship titles and helped her team qualify for the NCAA cross-country championships 3 times. She was the MAC champion in the indoor mile and earned 3 runner-up finishes at the MAC track championships and qualified for the NCAA track championships in the 1,500 meter. I have always been so very proud of Megan. She's strong, she's a determined young lady, and I'm so glad I had the opportunity to coach her. The 4 years of coaching her were definitely the best 4 years of coaching for me. So it is my great honor and pleasure to present this Hall of Fame award to Megan.
Oh man. Thank you so much to Jenny for her amazing kind words and bringing back a lot of those awesome memories. I'm going to try and follow your lead and not cry, but no promises. I want to begin by first thanking the selection committee for the consideration and for the honor of inviting me back home. To the other inductees, Lane, Bryan, and Megan, congratulations on this major accomplishment. It's a privilege to share this night with you all. To Jason Osborne, Jason Shade, Reba Pittman, and the entire athletic department, thank you for everything you've done for Miamisburg athletics and in turn for me personally. I hope I can express clearly tonight my gratitude for the love you put into this program and the impact it had on me. To my friends and family with me tonight, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy lives to share this with me. I think you're all the coolest for doing so, and I love you all so much. To George, my partner and best friend of 5 years, just like everything else we do in life, you've helped make this entire induction process a fun, joyous celebration of something that's near and dear to my heart, which you know to protect so well. To my dad, thank you for being the epitome of what a parent should be to a student athlete. I can probably count on one hand how many cross-country and track meets he missed throughout my entire career. More importantly, he was always the same amount of proud of me, whether I came in first, last, or in the middle, because he knew I was trying my best. I'm sorry, Dad, for the times I may have scoffed at your encouragement when I wasn't happy with where I finished in the race. Because you beaming with pride at me at the end, for me just trying my best, helped me show the same grace to myself as I've grown up, which is an invaluable lesson that you can give to a child. So thank you. Like all other Miamisburg athletes, I was afforded coaches who were invested in not only my athletic success, but my personal development and happiness. From Mr. Walsh in 7th grade first planting the seed, I had the talent to be a good runner, to Miss Blathers in 8th grade actually taking me up on my question of, Coach, how can I get better? In high school, I was welcomed with open arms by Jenny Melvin and Coach Mantuzo. Both the cross-country and track programs were run in a way that made you excited to run hard at practice, proud to put the uniform on race day, and laugh till our abs were sore at all the in-betweens. To Melvin, I hope that your thoughtful and hilarious observations helped shape my own sense of humor as an adult. You have somehow perfected the balance of holding your athletes to the highest standard possible and keeping the whole thing lighthearted and fun. It's an approach that I try to apply in my daily life, and words will never express how much I cherish the time I had the honor of being your athlete. And to Sandy, thank you for the support from Melvin in those long hours, because without you it wouldn't have been possible. To Jenny, my wonderful Jenny, at the time, I knew how awesome it was that you would pick me up at 7:30 a.m. every weekday for summer cross-country conditioning when I didn't have any other way to get there. Viewing those rides now, through some odd years later, those rides really represent the vivaciousness that you coached with. It was a perfect compliment to my struggling confidence and the doubt I carried of the runner and person I was going to be. You really took me in as your own, and you would never, ever let me give up on myself. You were, without a doubt, the person that shone that light on me, on that light, that thing in me that set the foundation of the strong woman I grew up to be. And for that, I'm forever grateful and humbled. I look back at our time together as if it sparkled, and I'm very lucky I get to carry that shine with me. Finally, I would like to close by taking a moment to not only thank, but more so include in receiving this honor. I had the privilege of running alongside my friend Jenna Perlett, witnessing her kindness, goodness, and toughness firsthand. She was consistent in those attributes regardless of what life threw her way, including way too many health issues. 10 years ago this year, Jenna collapsed, steps away from winning a race in college, and passed away 3 days later. Today, her motto of run with your legs, win with your heart, lives with me at my best and helps me at my worst. Jenna's way of being was what I believe the embodiment of what Miamisburg Athletics stands for. So thank you for allowing me to include her here tonight. Although this is a personal accolade, I think everyone here knows it runs much deeper than that. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart to every single individual who had a hand in the success of our community. Knowing I was lucky enough to represent the program for 4 years and for a few moments this evening is something I will treasure for the rest of my life. So thank you.
Our final inductee of the night is Megan Davis Reed. She is being inducted tonight as a participant in swim and dive. Megan will be presented by her coach, Jason Shade.
Hope everybody can hear me okay. Before we get started with Megan here, I do want to say one thing real quick. I want to give Jason Osborne his kudos here. He does an excellent job with this. When he became the athletic director, he turned it around. And this is just an awesome evening for the inductees and former inductees. And Jason, we appreciate all your efforts. Thank you. First, I just want to say congrats to Megan Wright. Megan, I had you in 6th grade science. Watched you grow up, run through junior high and high school, and you're a phenomenal young lady, and awesome. Congratulations. Lane, you're my Weavites coach. You know, I don't think you coached me in junior high, but I was on the coaching football staff when you were down there for a long time. Just a good friend, good guy. You know, I always said, if I could pick someone to be my grandfather one day, you'd be on that list. So, your grandsons and your grandchildren are just so lucky to have you, because there's no kind of person you are. Brian Myers, you know, I can't say enough about the athlete you were. I remember watching you as a young kid. And then Brad touched on it. If I ever get in a contest and need a partner for anything regards any hand-eye coordination, he's my man. Deadly for sure. Coached for years together, learned so much from you. He's just a true friend. I enjoy seeing and talking to you every day. Thanks for all you've done for Burke School. Love you, buddy. It is my honor and privilege to present and speak on behalf of Megan Davis Reed. I apologize, I'm a little emotional guy too, a little noodle, so if my voice gets a little scratchy, that's why. Not scared to admit it. So just a little background here. I went to school with Megan's mom, Dawn, and father, Scott. And her stepfather, local pastor here, Mike Hout, was one of our coaches for a long time here. All huge influences in her life. Huge influences in her life. I officially met Megan as a teacher at Neff Elementary. I was her 6th grade science teacher. This will come up a little later, but often that, me being her 6th grade science teacher, when we would have these long trips to Miami, to Canton, in the van, some of the other swimmers, it would come up that Megan, I think I received her first B on a report card in the 6th grade in science due to a cell test that she had not done so well on up to her standards. So, again, that was always a topic of conversation, and I'll bring that up here a little later. But, how many of you have witnessed a spring fling parade in the last 20 years? If you've witnessed a spring fling parade, you've seen Megan. Megan was always part of the group, the Unicycles, from St. Jacob's Lutheran Church. Okay, she started doing that when she was 7. That right there will just kind of show you what kind of athlete that she is and how athletic she is. I coached football here for somewhere around 25 years, and I was lucky enough to coach swimming for 7. I built some great lifelong relationships and had a few special ones. You know, you always, as a coach, you always have those ones where those kids feel like, God, that's like my son or like my daughter. And Megan was like that for me. She was just like a daughter to me, just a wonderful young lady. She began swimming competitively at 5 years old for the Miamisburg Barracudas and continued swimming to spend her summer swimming with them through graduation. She began club swimming at age 8 with KCST, which is Kettering City Swim Team, and then moved on to the Dayton Raiders at age 10 through high school. Now, here in Miamisburg, we don't have a club swimming team. Club team is operated out of Kaufman YMCA in Springboro, WTRC in Centerville, Beaver Creek, Kettering and Fairmont, you know, so they're right there, all those teams in our league. You can see the disadvantage we were always at swimming-wise, because, you know, we were just behind the 8 ball, we just didn't have that. So our swimmers had to go away to practice. The Raiders were considered the top club swimming organization in the Dayton area. I'm sure some of the other ones would say not, but usually that's where the best ones would come from. Club swimming, it wasn't 3 months. It's like 11 months. They got like 3 or 4 weeks off in the summer. And club swimming was, you're at practice in Dayton, in Beaver Creek, before school started. You went to school got out, you went back to practice in Dayton, or Beaver Creek, and Kettering. That was 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week. It was swim, school, swim, sleep. Constant. When you're a swimmer and you're a good swimmer, you have to dedicate your life to it, dedicate your sport, and that's what Megan did. For those of you who don't know swimming, quick, there's 4 competitive strokes. Backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, and freestyle. Some swimmers will specialize in one, maybe all of them. Megan was a breaststroker, but she was also a medley where she swam all of them. And she did those extremely, extremely well. The one thing about Megan is, with a lot of the club swimmers that I was fortunate to coach in the 7 years I did that, she truly cared about swimming for Miamisburg. It was important to her. Wasn't always important to all the club swimmers. They just kind of did it to do it. But Megan truly enjoyed it, and it was important to her. When you go to big meets, Southwest Classics, districts, state meet, the club coaches were usually there. And the club coaches When swimmers got out of the water, they typically go straight to their club coaches. Some high school coaches weren't club coaches, and they get upset about that. They feel, oh, don't talk to my athlete, they're my athlete, now they're not yours, yada, yada. I never got into that. That was just not worth it. Her coaches, Kevin and Gary at the Dayton Raiders, were great guys, and I always told our club swimmers, go talk to your club coaches, then come talk to me. There's nothing I'm going to be able to help you with, other than we'll talk about your swim, here's your splits, here's your times. As far as your techniques go, that wasn't me. I was just more the organizer, bringing everybody together, motivate, and just have a team. Megan wouldn't do that. She'd come to me first. She'd always come to me first before she'd go to them. And that always meant a lot to me. Again, I wasn't giving her a whole lot of advice about technique and what she did right and what she did wrong, but we just had kind of a connection, and it was more of a, how do you think the swim went? And, we talked about that, but I always appreciate that out of her. Megan was a quiet leader. She will sit here and tell you, I was not a leader. No, that wasn't me. She was a quiet leader. She did by action. She wasn't a big rah-rah person, but she was a great, great leader. And again, I coached football for, like I said, around 25 years, swimming for 7. Swimmers taught me so much about mental and physical toughness. And Megan was both of those. Extremely mentally tough, and extremely physically tough. And again, she's going to tell you, no, that wasn't me. Well, it was. To do what she did for as long as she did, and the time and effort, it just proves that. And the ups and downs of her career was, just unbelievable. Her accolades. She led the team in breaststroke all 4 years, 2008 to 2011. And the individual medley from 2009 to 2011. In 2008, one of the other freshmen that were with her actually was the IM that year. Our 200 free relay 3 of the 4 years and medley relay 4 years. Meaning, but what I'm saying there is she had the best time all those years in those events. She has 4 of the top 25 mix of PowerPoint scores in school history, which basically that's like a national index on how you score and how you swim at meets. And she has the most of any swimmer in school history here with 4 of those top 25. She has 3 of the top 10 100 breaststroke times. She was first in the districts in 2011, second in 2009, and 6th best time at the 2010 state meet. She has 3 of the top 10 200 breaststroke times. First at the 2011 Southwest Classic, third in 2010, and 6th in her swim in 2009 Southwest Classic. 3 of the top 10 200 individual medleys. She's 2011 first, 2010 third, and 2009 10th. She has 3 of the top 10 400 individual medley. If you've ever seen a 400 IM, when you can swim the 400 IM, you're doing something. She has the 4th, 6th, and 8th best times on those. Her relay, part of relays, 200 free relay. 4th and 8th best times, medley relay 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 400 medley relay 3rd, 5th, and 8th. So she has just numerous names in the record book throughout. Conference, district, state, and school records. Okay, she was a 100 breast GWALK South champion in 2009, 2010, and 2011. She still holds the record for 2009 in GWALK South. In the GWALK South, we competed against Springboro. That was our big rival in GWALK South. Again, Springboro, a lot of money, pool in the backyard. Very, very difficult to compete against Springboro. I mean, it just period in the story, it was just very difficult. If you could get wins against Springboro, you were doing something. 200 individual medley South champion, 2009, 2010. 100 breast overall GWALK champion in 2009. That's against 20 schools, Centerville, Beaver Creek, Fairmont. I mean, again, those are your top tier schools in the GWALK, and they produced, if we had 5 club swimmers, they had 30. So it was phenomenal. This is one of the huge. 2008, 2011, we were actually the GWALK South champions in girls swimming, and we beat Springboro. And again, you can attest this. Multiple girls that went on to swim in Division I, Division II, multiple club swimmers, and we were able to put teams together in events and beat them. Two of the 7 years I was coaching, and Megan was a huge part of that. 2008, 5th in the GWALK out of 20. Again, It doesn't sound like much, but when you're competing against the Centervilles, the Beaver Creeks, the Ketterings, it's just hard. And again, a lot of her swims were part of us scoring as high as we did. 2009 we were 6th, and in 2010, 2011 we were 3rd. That's big. In our world, that was big. In sectionals, 2008 she was top 16 in 4 events. 2009 she was top 16 in 3 events. First in the breast in sectionals. 2010 top 16 in 4 events. 2011 top 16, first in the breast. Districts, as a freshman, she swam in those events her freshman year. She did not make it to state her freshman year. When she got out of the pool, I don't know if you remember this or not, kind of a little story here. She got out of the pool and she said, she didn't make it to districts, didn't have a great swim, and she said, "See that podium, Mr. Shade?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I'll be up there next year." I said, "Okay." She said, "No, I will be up there next year. This is not going to happen." 2009, district champion. She was on top of that podium. 200 meter relay, 13th, only female swimmer to do so in school history as the district champion in a swimming event. 2010, 8th in the breast, 15th in the IM, and 9th in the 200 medley relay. 2011, 2nd in the breast, 6th in the 200 IM, and 6th in the 200 medley relay. She was part of the first ever medley relay girls team to ever make it to a state meet. Big reason because of that. In state meet, 2009, she was 4th in the 100 breast, highest finish at the state and school meet history. Remember the swim, still remember to this day. Stand over top of her lane, came out of her last turn, and disappeared in the water. We couldn't find her, and she had just in swimming, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be and she just had a bad turn, and I thought she was going to be right there for the state championship. 2010, 10th in the breast. 2011, this is again at the state, 7th podium, 18th in the 200 IM, the medley relay, we finished 24th, but we were there. She holds the school record in both the 100 breaststroke and the 200 individual medley. She's a member of the 200 medley relay school record holding team. She was the 2011 Senior Female Athlete of the Year. Impressive. I want to personally thank Megan for the opportunity to coach her. She taught me so much about toughness and athletes and fighting through adversity. Not to mention Panera bread bowls on those long weekends at districts and state. Hannah introduced me to Panera. The conversations and time we all spent together on those trips were both eventful and educational, and I learned so much. So much fun. After high school, Megan went to swim at Ohio University for 2 years and studied nursing. She is on OU's all-time top 10 in the 100 meter and 200 meter breaststroke. After 2 years of swimming for the Bobcats, Megan hung up her goggles and transferred home to Kettering College for healthcare to finish the nursing degree and graduated in 2017. Megan worked in the emergency room at Kettering through nursing school. She also came back and coached with us for a couple of years while she was doing that. She worked in the cardiac ICU at Kettering that transformed into COVID ICU. Since then, she received her master's in nursing and now works as a nurse practitioner at Southview Hospital. All of this from someone who got a B in 6th grade science due to a C on the subject. Megan resides in Miamisburg with her husband Sam, son Cameron, and golden retriever Nala. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Davis Reed.
Mine's going to be short. Thank you, Mr. Shade. I wanted to start out by thanking my mom. Thank you for supporting me through all of the crazy swimming endeavors throughout the years. Thank you for driving me to 5 a.m. swim practices all the way out at Wright State, starting in 7th grade. Thanks for waking me up to a fresh omelet and toast every single morning before those practices, and allowing me to sleep the entire car drive while you were my taxi driver. I also wanted to thank my stepdad, Pastor Mike. You have always been my biggest cheerleader, and I believe the person who nominated me for this award. You never let me forget my accomplishments, big or small, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. Thank you to Coach Shade. You supported me through many highs and lows in my life, not just in swimming. You taught me the importance in appreciating all of the moments regardless of the outcome. Gave me tough love when necessary, taught me how to be a good teammate, and most importantly, how to be a good sport, which was not always easy for me. You have always loved me like family, and I'm so grateful to you for being a positive father figure in my life since the 6th grade. I also wanted to quickly thank my partner in crime, Anna, who came in from Columbus today. I wanted to thank my club coaches, Kevin and Gary, who are not here today, my husband Sam, who's here with our baby Cameron, and the rest of my family for coming today to support me, as well as the rest of my teammates who are not here all over the place. It's crazy to think that the 5-year-old little swimmer for the Barracudas at the local swim team ended up in that level almost 25 years later. Thank you so much to everyone who supported me and to those who voted me in for this award. Swimming impacted my life in so many ways, and I wouldn't be the person who I am today without it. Congratulations again to Lane, Bryan, and Megan, my fellow inductees, and thank you to the selection committee for this great honor.
If only that Megan would have made a wager about a tattoo with Coach Shea, wouldn't that have been something? And now I would like to bring up State Representative Tom Young for a special presentation.
Thanks, Jason. In the chaotic world that I deal with in Columbus, it's always a pleasure to come and hear these great stories. And I tell my children all the time, everyone has a story, right? And here we get to go back and hear the great stories about each one of these great people and the people that influence their lives. It's very, very important in a world that has many challenges in it. And the thing that, when Brad was talking about, winning a game, having more points or whatever, the thing that I come away with this is that the character that you have by participating in this Berg family, the character that you've developed and the integrity, it's absolutely amazing. And what great people you've turned into as a result of this Berg family. So I'm a part of this Berg family. It's a privilege to be here tonight, and I have some commendations for each one of the inductees. I do have one, the last row, but I'll get one for Megan, right? But thank you for doing this event every single year, and it's amazing, and thank you for having me. It's a blessing. Megan, you come on up. This is from the House of Representatives and the Speaker of the House, and unfortunately the mail service.
Thank you, guys. I just want to say, how great of a job the presenters did and tonight's inductees. It is special to hear the stories. It's very enjoyable to watch. So let's give them a round of applause. Like presenters. Just for some announcements, if you guys have been watching the TVs, that's something the athletic department has been working on for a few years, and that is of all Division I athletes that are graduates of Miamisburg, either as coaches or players at the NCAA Division I level. If we miss somebody, if you have a family member, a friend that we missed on there, we certainly would love to get them on there, so let us know that. We appreciate it. The Campus Quest campaign is ongoing, and I'd like to thank everyone who has donated to the Campus Quest, and it's made a significant impact to our student body and our community since its completion in 2016. If you guys would like more information about that, you can reach out to me or stop by the athletic office. The varsity game tips off at 7:30 if everything's on track in there. And so we would appreciate it, after we dismiss here, if you kind of make your way over there before 7:30, before tip off. If you know the band hallway, if you turn in the band hallway and you go into the gym by the sports medicine door, that is where we have a section reserved for all you guys. We've got a whole section, plenty of room for you guys. Feel free to go, everybody here can go in there and set. So we appreciate it if you join us in there. If you signed in with Reba when you came in, if you're a Hall of Fame member, if you remember, we always kind of arc you guys around the 4 inductees, and we name off the people that are here tonight, that are on the court, that are Hall of Famers. And we can only do that if we highlighted your name on the list. I'm going to give to Danny Prophet when I walk in there to announce. So if you did not get your name highlighted over there and you're here and you're a Hall of Fame member, please make sure you check in with Reba so she can highlight your name. Let's see. And lastly, and I say this every year because it is so important, and for younger people that are here and have been inducted recently, to people that are older and have been inducted a long time ago, some of the specialness of the night is the fact that we're sharing it with this body of people. And so just from my heart, I just thank you for coming. And if you can make it next year, that's great. And we love to see you. We love all of our legends, and we appreciate you being here and sharing this moment with these 4 outstanding inductees. So this concludes the 2023 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we appreciate you being here. If we could get the 4 of you up here for a picture. Brenda Hibbert's running this way right now, ready to strangle me because I forgot to say it. Come on up, the 4 of you, come on up right now, please.
That's why they invite me. I would like to get a picture.